Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining. We're a few minutes past, so I think we can make a start. So yeah, great turnout already. Great to see everyone here. And again, we've just been saying how nice the weather is. So we know some people might want to be out in the nice weather, might want to do other things. So we do appreciate you spending your time with us this evening. So let's make a start. So very briefly, we do follow the Microsoft Event Code of Conduct. The short version is we're just nice to each other. It's such a lovely bunch. I know everyone on the call. It's great to see you all here. So we don't need to enforce anything. But if you've got any issues, just message me or Sarah Jones directly and we'll help out. I mean, I'll just pass it to Sarah. She'll deal with the troublemakers. But yeah, any issues, just let us know. Also, just to plug a few events coming up as well. I mean, some of them are really in September. First up, Nordic Summit, me and my wonderful co-host Neil Rowlands, who's on the call as well. We're going to be delivering Thinking Like a Power Platform Architect, the workshop. So if anyone's going there or you're thinking of registering, it'd be great to see you at a workshop. Me and Neil have done this a couple of times before. Nordic Summit actually have like half-day workshops. It's going to be a bit more digestible, a bit snappier. So we're really looking forward to this new format and seeing everyone at Legoland in Billund in September. And also Baltic Summit, again, another workshop outing for me. It's great to be there. Absolutely, Sarah. Baltic Summit, again, Neil's going to be there with an absolutely brilliant workshop as well. I'm going to be delivering a different solo workshop myself, a technical one about the future of Power Apps and the most modern features. And it's a chance to play with those toys and get hands-on with them and use them. So again, if you're thinking of going, another great community event, it'd be great to see you there in Poland. But what we're really here for tonight is we've got these wonderful speakers with some brilliant sessions as well. So this evening, we've got Sailaja starting with the brain behind Copilot, retrieval architecture, semantic index, and governance. Some really clever, interesting stuff. Looking forward to this. Then we have a wonderful new speaker, a good friend of mine and someone who I've seen do a mini presentation before. She's absolutely wonderful. Afsha's on the call. Hi, Afsha. And this is the skills AI can't replace and how to actually build them. So again, we know that for a new speaker, it's very brave to go out there and give this a shot. So when the time comes, a lot of encouragement and support would be great for Afsha. And then finishing up, a really good friend of ours as well, and another one of these MVPs who go speaking at events and travel the world, Markus Franz with Your AI Needs a Briefing, Markdown-Driven Development for Power Platform Code Apps. A really cool hot topic, code apps. So going to be a really interesting one to check out. So first up, Sailaja, if I could pass to you, feel free to share the screen when you're ready. Really looking forward to this. It's a really interesting topic. And just over to you when you're ready to go. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Keith. Let me share my slides. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, looking good. I can see a PowerPoint.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's a very interesting topic that I'm going to cover. Today, we're not going to talk about another prompt. We are talking about Copilot, but specifically talking about what, the brain behind Copilot, meaning what happens when you type a prompt and hit enter before Copilot gives you an answer, what happens underneath, right? So just speaking off of the title, we're going to talk about retrieval, semantic understanding, and governance that shape every AI response. Let's get started. So my name is Sailaja Mantripragada. I am a Microsoft MVP Business Applications, and I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer, and I run a company called Low Code Power. And okay. So let's start with the most three common questions about enterprise AI. Have you heard? I'm sure everybody has heard people saying, how did Copilot know that? Why didn't it find my document? And my most favorite, why did my colleague get a different answer for the same exact prompt that we both gave, right? I don't know if it is resonating, but this is an everyday question that comes to our minds when we are working with specifically Microsoft Copilot. So I wanted to reveal the spoiler. The answer is not AI. It is not the models. Almost everyone working on any agents are using the same underlying AI models. It could be OpenAI's GPT or Claude's Sonnet or something like that, right? So, what is that architecture that gives you different answers and what happens underneath a prompt? So, let's see. So, it is the information architecture, right? Let's start with a prompt. We're going to use a single Copilot prompt and we are going to use this throughout the presentation. So, we're connecting the dots. Okay, so I'm saying summarize everything I missed about Project Phoenix while I was on vacation. So we are talking about summarizing, we're talking about everything which could be the status, what happened, uh, any new stakeholders, everything, right? When I say what did I miss about Project Phoenix, it could be about new notes that came along, new context that came along. And the other part is when I was on vacation. So with this prompt, what happens before anything is before searching for information, Copilot establishes the who. The who part is identifying the user in context, and Microsoft Entra provides you identity and permissions, and it helps you determine exactly which SharePoint sites, which artifacts in on OneDrive, which Outlook messages and Teams this specific user who's logged in is allowed to access. So basically, we are saying, when you're building an agent, when you're using an agent, especially with enterprise data within an organization, it starts with identity, right? Just like when you're entering a building, identity card is everything. You first need to be allowed to enter the building, and then you decide which rooms you're allowed to enter. So trust starts with identity, right? So that's what happens. First, it establishes identity. Sorry. And then it goes from there. So the next step would be uh, I'm sure everybody's heard of Microsoft Graph. If not, let me tell you what it is. So Microsoft Graph allows all organizational context to be linked and mapped to each other. So within M365, we're talking about Entra, which is the people, the users, and then we're talking about files, meetings, chats, calendars, and Entra helps you connect and map how the organizational context is built. So, for example, in this diagram, you see that there's a user profile and there was a strategy meeting, there is a project team chat, and then there is a PowerPoint deck. These are all different artifacts, but they're all linked to the user profile. And Microsoft Graph allows you to map that relationship between people and data. So I will go back and forth so you understand. So we first spoke about the identity and then connected the identity to artifacts. And So what is Copilot doing? It is not searching your files directly. It searches the relationships between the files. So between the artifacts that I was talking about. So let's see how that happens. So there's one way to search, right? You wanted Project Phoenix. I said, let's search Project Phoenix and let's search what happened when I was on vacation. So there's one way to search where you're completely blind to context and you're looking for the exact phrases, which is Project Phoenix, vacation, and status. But how Copilot works internally is something called semantic index search. So what this does is instead of looking for direct word to word keyword search, we are now looking for semantic index search. We're looking for meaning. So what happens here is anything related to vacation. So when you say vacation, it could be out of office, it could be the typical OOO or out of office, PTO, anything that's vacation, and then anything that's Project Phoenix, and anything that's a launch plan. So internally, text is converted into numerical vectors. And these vectors are stored in something called vector database. And we internally, it converts it into something called embeddings, right? So each of these is an embedding where the relationship is semantic. So anything that is vacation, out of office, PTO, anything related to vacation is closely set in an area. Similarly, everything else that you're looking for, right? So it's called semantic proximity. So they're all put together. And then, so now we have user identity, we've used graph to connect all the relationships. Then we went back to, the semantic search, which is connecting the proximity of the meaning. Now, as a last part, once you've retrieved that information is exposed to security trimming. So what security trimming is, so once the relevant content is identified, in the semantic index, retrieval assembles the most useful data for that user. So now that you have a bunch of data, I'll show you in the next image. Only authorized context is shown to the user. So let's say an internal project lead is asking a question, and the same question is being asked by an external contractor for different reasons, right? So what happens is the project lead, it has access to furthermore artifacts and details compared to an external contractor, right? So as you see on the screen, the project lead is internal and he's able to see a detailed financial data access level, data access, and he's able to see what is the status and what are the internal budget details and the milestones, what has been completed and what's pending. So, and when an external contractor types the same prompt, even though semantic indexing retrieves a bunch of information that's on the left hand side, the security trimming part of it reveals only the necessary data for that particular user. So he's only able to say this project is on track for Q3 launch. That's it. Right? That's the reason why two people asking the same exact question might receive different answers, but they're both legitimate. And because their underlying access rights are different, and you know because permissions are preset, right? For example, imagine your permissions were not set properly. For example, all your data, the financial information, it's all sitting in SharePoint. And sadly, the permissions are not trimmed enough, and an external contractor, for example, permissions on a particular document library or a site have been set to everyone, right? What happens? External contractor is able to see all these details which you do not appreciate. It's not a safe thing. So that connects with something real. Let's talk about a concept called grounding. So grounding anchors the prompt in enterprise reality. So it's like electric grounding. You're grounding the output, the result of your prompt to retrieved context. You're saying do not just go generic and be like Bing search and just find me everything on the internet. And it's specific to our organization. It's like bringing in an intern from MIT. The intern is really smart. He has a lot of knowledge. He studied a lot of things, but he is not trained to understand your organization's context and references and details, right? So that's the grounding that anchors the prompt into your enterprise's reality. So this is a huge reveal for many people. It's a very interesting part. The LLM, we say, for example, when we are providing a prompt, you see right there that we are using Claude Sonnet 4.5 or GPT-5 or something like that. We could assume that when you type in a prompt, you know, GPT is reacting and giving you the result, right? But the LLM never sees your original prompt. It sees a heavily engineered, so just everything that we spoke, right? The identity tokens, Microsoft Graph context, retrieved documents. So after everything has been retrieved, we're again applying security trimming rules. And that's a heavily engineered prompt. It's called, we call it a meta prompt that your LLM sees, and that's what results in a generative AI output, right? So again, it comes to say that large language model is the final step, not the first step. So after the prompt goes through everything, it gives it to the large language model, which gives you the natural language response. Right, in the context of grounding, let's talk a little more here. So, what is the difference between guessing and assembling, right? So, you go to just, for example, let's just take our own Microsoft 365. Let's just take Microsoft Copilot. You have Copilot chat, which does not have any context about your enterprise. When you go type something in Copilot chat, that is a public AI model in a sense. So when you provide a prompt to your public Copilot and say, give me what happened, what did I miss about Project Phoenix during my vacation, it does not know much about the enterprise, right? So it's looking for these keywords everywhere else in the internet using the public web training. It might come up with random answers that do not completely anchor to your enterprise. So you will be receiving random answers. That part is called hallucination. So there is high hallucination risk when there is no inherent context provided, right? And my M365 Copilot is hence extremely valuable to the organization because it does everything we've just spoken about and generates the response. So when we say architecture dictates the quality of AI, don't you think instead of writing a better prompt, organizations should think about? So you see how people were initially talking about prompt engineering, and then prompt libraries and stuff like that. And slowly people understood it's not just the prompt, it is context, right? Context engineering was the next keyword that came in place. But between context engineering and prompt engineering is the information architecture. So these are the questions organizations need to ask. Is our internal knowledge discoverable? That means, have we exactly placed the right information in the right folders? Have we implemented metadata information architecture? How is our data stored inside the organization? And another question, which is extremely major, is, are our permissions accurate? Is our security governance clean? Are we oversharing the sites? Are we oversharing our teams? And then, is our knowledge logically structured? You could have an HR database and have folders for your upcoming HR policies, HR strategy. You could have HR policies, you could have new openings and things like that. But are they organized logically inside your knowledge management system? And then, are we providing the right context to Copilot, right? So it is all these, an amalgamation of all these options that results in an outcome from Copilot. So yeah, that is the underlying architecture. And that's what I wanted to say. Great prompts improve responses, but understanding the underneath architecture and understanding what happens behind your prompt will allow you, when I say you, an individual who's building an agent, or an organization and executive leaders who are thinking about gaining the maximum return on investment on your enterprise AI investments. These are the behind the scenes that you need to think about to have great returns on AI. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I'll open it up for questions.
Thanks, Sailaja. That was absolutely brilliant. Love the slides and very clearly explained. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
And yeah, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to raise the hand in Teams, and we can ask away. It's a safe space. We can ask anything we want, of course.
Yeah, we could have a discussion about it. Anything that people have observed and anything I might have missed.
I think it's great because there's so many times, like in your example, when you said, hey, it didn't find my document, or for me, how can it not answer this simple question? This is AI, it should be smart, right? So it's interesting to know those levels and the stages that it goes through. There's a lot more under the bonnet, under the hood that many people might suspect.
I'm not technical, as we all know, but I am keeping a close eye on this topic because I know we had Areti on not long ago doing a session about governance around AI, and these things are going to be changing, aren't they? They're going to evolve with, like, AI has taken off so quickly, and the governance has only just caught up with it, really, from a kind of legislation point of view. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch this evolve. It's great to keep up to date, so thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great
Sarah.
presentation. Yeah, really, really good. Thanks, Sailaja. It's great to have you here as well and join us. Sailaja speaking from Dallas as well. So quite yeah, we've got people joining and presenting from all over the world, which is the benefit of having this virtual user group. So something me and Sarah kind of talked about from the early days, didn't we? Of this is the benefit of doing it this way.
It is. And what's funny is we met in Vegas, didn't we? in person?
Sorry, did I miss something?
Oh yeah, did you two meet in Las Vegas at PPCC?
Yes. Oh, yeah, we met, Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We met at PPCC.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
My
there
first
this year
time.
too.
Yeah. No, that was great. Yeah, lovely to meet you in person. Great to have you on here as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think we've got any questions. If we do, feel free to hit up Sailaja after the call if you think of anything later. One thing we might do now before we go to the next speaker is anyone who wants to come on camera, we're going to take the high five photo. We figure it'd be a good time to do it. We know some people need to leave early or come and go during the call. So yeah, anyone who wants to join, we're just going to take a really nice quick smiley photo. And we normally share that on LinkedIn when we post about the event. So it'd be great if you could join us. Okay, I will just get the view ready. Look at that, Markus is keen. Look at that, he's chomping at the bit. Look at that. Fantastic. Okay, great stuff. What's that? You want to do two?
Yeah. Can I use my feet as well, or?
I think you should do all four. Yeah, I think you should do feet and hands. Go for it, right? Okay, folks, I'll do a countdown. If you just want to hold the pose, I'll do the high five shot. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. There we go. Lovely shot. Fantastic. I'll share that in the chat as well. Awesome. Thank you so much again, Sailaja. That was absolutely brilliant. And you'd be welcome back anytime. That was a great session. So next up, we've got a new speaker. Now, it's always brave being a new speaker. You know, people like Neil Rowlands, maybe me, you know, we've spoken at a few events. We kind of get used to this. But, you know, for some people, it's brand new. So it's a really big thing to go and do it. We've got the wonderful Afsha, who's going to be joining us now. So Afsha, whenever you're ready, no rush, but just share the screen, your slides, whenever you're comfortable, and take it away. You've got any issues, just give me a shout out if you need anything, Afsha. So great, I can see the design view on PowerPoint, and when you want to come off mute, you are good to go.
Yeah, I hope you can see it. I'll make it full screen. Yeah. Sorry, this is not the right place. Sorry, I'll just share again.
That was good, actually, just at the end. Yeah, it was absolutely fine.
Okay, where are we? Sorry.
No rush. Yeah, just take your time.
Okay, is it better now?
That is absolutely perfect. Yeah, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hello. Thank you, Keith and Sarah and the Power Platform High Five community for inviting me. Today, before I say anything about artificial intelligence, I'd like to ask you something a bit personal. So think of someone in your life who has been truly irreplaceable. It could be a teacher, a mentor, a friend, a colleague, a musician, or someone in your family. So what made them irreplaceable? So hold on to those thoughts. If you feel comfortable, please share in the chat. And what were the traits that made that person special and irreplaceable to you? So I'll come back to it soon, maybe near the end of the conversation. And I might ask you to come out of mute if you want to share. So that's what I asked. Sorry, I should have gone there. Okay, so quick intro about me. My name is Afsha. I am a DevOps engineer at Capgemini. I used to be a maths teacher in a secondary school in London, and I worked in various sectors after I graduated in economics degrees and before I became an engineer. So in my free time, I enjoy dancing and volunteering. And so over the last year, almost every day I've been either using artificial intelligence in my work and everyday life or studying artificial intelligence. I've taken certifications to understand it, how it works. And the more capable AI became or is becoming, the more the one question has crystallized in my mind. And it is not what AI can do, because the list of things it can do is increasing every month. So the question now is for our careers and for our lives, it's what is still ours to do. What must we continue to do for ourselves if we want to remain relevant, valuable, and irreplaceable? So today's talk is more non-technical, I would say. Anybody here who's technical or non-technical can relate to what I'm saying, and hopefully you can get something out of it. So when we strip away most of the repetitive technical operational work that machines can handle, what remains genuinely and distinctly human? Because I have been thinking about and reflecting on these ideas, I want to try to focus on only two broad human skills today because of lack of time. And the first skill is, I would say, the ethical judgment and accountability. And the second human skills, I would say, is the human connection and trust. The first one helps us decide what should be done. And the second one helps us remember who our decisions are for. So we need both. We need the judgment without connection can become cold and detached. Whereas if we have connection without judgment, that can have good intentions, but still can cause harm. So here is the cue that pointed me to them. That made me come up with these two skills. So when I was studying responsible AI, I learned there are 6 widely taught principles, and 2 of them are treated as foundations for all other principles. So they are accountability and transparency. And they stayed with me because they are not things we can simply hand over to a machine. They remain human responsibilities. AI may outperform us at most tasks, but it cannot relieve us from the responsibilities to think, to choose, to care, to connect, and to live as human beings. AI can already produce creative work, generate compassionate language, analyze complex situations, and recommend decisions. So my argument is not that AI will never be able to imitate a human capability. My argument is that AI can live our humanity for us. AI can't live our humanity for us. So it can assist us in our thinking, but we must still choose. It can generate caring words, but we must decide whether to act and care. It can influence our decisions, but it can't carry our moral responsibilities for our consequences. These are not simply tasks to protect from automation. They are human responsibilities that we must not outsource. So coming back to the first responsibility or skill, ethical judgment and accountability. AI can generate answers all day long. What it can never do is be answerable for a single one of them. Think about what that means. When something we build is released and it goes wrong, the model does not receive the difficult phone calls or sit in the room and explain what happened. A person does. A person plus their name to the decision, and the person puts their name to the decision and accepts the responsibility. So as AI takes on more of the production work, the human role becomes concentrated, and the most valuable person may be the one who can examine what the machine produced and can say that this is wrong, here is why, and I am prepared to stand by my judgment. So every one of us is going to make decisions in the products we make, the agents we build, and the tools we ship with AI inside them. So someone must carry the moral weight of AI-assisted decisions and recognize the difference between what is clever and what is right. So the responsibility is ours, and in a world where the work gets automated, the ability to own the outcome becomes most valuable thing we bring. Because AI can give us an answer, but an answer is not the same as decision. So a decision involves values, it involves context, giving AI context as our previous speaker has said, and it also involves consequences and responsibility. Imagine we are using AI to shortlist job candidates, approve financial applications, or prioritize patients. And we need to decide which maybe customers to prioritize, who receives extra support. And these systems may be efficient, but efficiency alone can't tell us whether the outcomes are fair. So humans have to ask who benefits and who is excluded, who may be excluded, and what assumptions are behind in the data and the design. So how do we build this capability is first, before accepting an AI recommendation, we ask, who could help and who could have harmed by this decision? Who could be harmed by this decision? And secondly, we challenge the first answer. We ask the alternative interpretations, ask what evidence would change the conclusion, ask what perspectives may be missing. And thirdly, we own the final decision. We should not say this is told, but the AI told me this. So if we choose to make a decision, we use it, we use the AI's recommendation, we also remain responsible for that choice. So accountability is not a statement we place in a policy document. It is a habit we build. We practice every time accountability is something we practice every time we pause, we question, we decide, and take responsibility. So AI should expand our thinking, but not replace our thinking. So I often ask AI several possible approaches, then compare them, and then make my own decisions. So the goal is not to avoid AI, but the goal is to use it without surrendering our own judgment. So now we go to the next skill. It's human connection and trust. So this is something AI cannot replace, and is what happens between two people who trust each other. In the workplace, we may call this sales or stakeholder engagement, client relationships, and leadership. Underneath these labels is the ancient human ability to understand and to form relationships and earn trust with another human being. So looking at someone's eyes, telling a compelling story, building relationship that makes people, clients, and communities says yes. Help us nurture these capabilities. And I'm sure to go back to the previous question I asked you, you have someone in mind that you can see that they are irreplaceable in your life. And AI is a system that may be brilliant and patient and highly personalized. But what changed our lives was not always information alone. It was a human relationship. It was being seen, being challenged, being encouraged by another person who cared and who wanted us to succeed. That is what made people in our lives irreplaceable. And that is human connection we must protect and practice. This is one that AI can never take, because it will never, this human connection, this trust is never a skill of performance, you know, it's connecting to another human being. And a person can build genuine trust with a colleague, a client, and a community. This will remain valuable regardless of how much technology we use. So think again of that someone who was been irreplaceable in your life, and was you want to share, like if you want to come out of mute, unmute yourself, and I'd love to know. I can't see the chat because I'm sharing the screen. So if you raise your hand, I will not be able to see.
No
Keith,
worries.
do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the chat, but I'm happy to go first. So there's one I put in the chat, which was the first manager that I had in my first job, as in first programming job. I was a pro dev by background, and yeah, it was all a bit new to me because I didn't study programming or IT at uni, so I was kind of brand new to it. Had to learn a lot on the job, so I needed someone who was approachable and friendly. Who was willing to sort of coach me as well, and that's exactly what they did. Yeah, I could always ask them a question. Didn't matter if it was a silly or a simple question, they were always there and didn't belittle it or, you know, make fun of it. And so it was a great way I could learn without feeling awkward or difficult. So yeah, Nigel, his name was, a very good manager.
Nigel.
I didn't see that in the chat actually, Keith, so I'm glad you said something. Maybe
I
you
mean,
didn't hit.
I did mention Sarah Jones first, of course, but it's so obvious I had to pick someone else.
Sarah, do you have any stories or anyone who lived different in your life?
Oh, there's so many. I'm a real people person. So yeah, there's lots of people I couldn't live without. Franco's just walked in the room. He's definitely one of them. But also he's a good example of someone using AI on a day-to-day basis and evolving with how that technology has transformed business, but how it can be unreliable with its outcomes as well. So needing that human touch to kind of manage it is really important. But yeah, I really liked your opening there because it got me thinking. I was thinking about my nana who's 90 in a couple of weeks, my sister who lives in Australia, and there's people that I kind of, yeah, definitely couldn't live without in this world. It's a lot like too many to mention, honestly, and some that are around in my life now and some that aren't. But I think Joe Griffin posted something recently that was really interesting about the AI slot that we see on LinkedIn. So many posts I see now that are most people, or, you know, even messages. People send me sales messages that are clearly AI generated messages, and I don't read beyond. Yeah, you can. And I don't use AI a lot at all. I listen to people talk about AI. I try and keep up to date with it, but I can really easily see if someone sent me a message that's been generated by one of the LLMs, and it really turns me off. So big believer in the human side for sure. But that was a really great first session as well. Thank you. I love how you opened it up.
Thank you.
Got me thinking.
I still have some points to go. So shall I continue, or is it too long I'm taking?
No. Happy for you to continue if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. So one thing I noticed that when we know someone who's irreplaceable in our life is not necessarily because of how much efficient they were, how productive they were. What made them irreplaceable not necessarily is related to work, but it's more about how they made us feel, how they made us think and grow. So technology can help us prepare for a conversation or summarize conversations afterwards, but we still have to enter the conversation, be present, and build the relationships ourselves. So these skills weaken when we do not practice them. The answer is not to reject technology, it is to create boundaries that protect our attention and humanity. So if every spare moment is filled with screens and constant stimulation or automated interactions, we lose the chance to practice patience, attention, and real conversations. So the answer isn't, as I said, technology, it isn't to reject technology, it's to create boundaries that protect our humanity. And these are some ways how we can actually build those skills. So we need to have some friction in our life. So AI can do many things, many hard things, but often where learning happens are when we struggle. And so we need to do the hard things. We need to still go through that learning process and then check it with AI. So I try not to, I've learned my lesson, so I don't get AI to make the email for me, and I do myself first, and then get AI revise what I have done. And similarly, in similar ways, we need to build our critical thinking, problem solving, and decision-making muscles. So first, and then we get AI to see, and it's sometimes important that we do mistakes and we fail. So if we're outsourcing our judgment and avoid the complex problem, those muscles will simply atrophy. So the second part is use AI as a partner and not a universal truth. So don't ask it for answers. Ask it, for example, 5 different ways to think about the problem and then decide. Use it to learn to make hard concepts simpler and not outsource our thinking. So that's really important. Finally, we need to get practice with real people, and make friends, seek out mentors, or mentor someone ourselves, and share life lessons and experiences. Trust and judgment only forms where real consequences land. And so the difficult conversations, we need to have those conversations and speak up when something goes wrong. And finally, I want to just give an example of a mentoring program, which is called Essential Skills Mentorship Program, which I co-lead with John Russell at my company, Capgemini. So we have this framework where we have the mentors and the mentees, they go through these seven essential skills: active listening, empathy, personalization, transparency, consistency, feedback, and radical candor. So we treat them as essential skills that can be practiced and through real relationships and reflections and repeated conversations. And anybody can replicate this in their own communities or in their own personal interactions with their mentors. And this is how we try to practice our human skills, and not just by reading a list in the slide, but built through human experiences, honest reflections, and repetitions. Finally, I just want to say that we have to be more human, because we can't compete with AI. Soon, AI will probably become, like indistinguishable to human. And so in our judgment, in the trust we build in how we show up for people, that question of being replaced never applies. So thank you so much for everyone for listening. Sorry about the long session.
Great stuff. Thank you, Afsha. That was absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed it. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to raise the hand in Teams. If not, if you think of something later, feel free to reach out to Afsha. I did put in the chat as well. I've been a mentor 3 times on the Essential Skills program. I've enjoyed it each time, getting to know someone new. And the mentoring does go both ways. There's lots of learning, so I've really enjoyed it. I know you and me, Afsha, we have regular calls as well, don't we?
Yes, you're also my mentor. Thank you, Keith.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, and it's great because we all learn from each other, and we've all got ways we can improve and learn. So yeah, absolutely love it.
I've been on the Essential Skills Mentoring Program too. I was a mentor in the first cohort.
Oh, fantastic. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Wow. So many.
I
That's
didn't know
really
anything
good,
about
Afsha.
this.
Sorry?
I didn't know anything about this program. I
actually
know
joined as a
John,
mentee. I
yeah,
joined as a
and that-
mentee, one of the few people, and Stuart Baxter is also an MVP. He's also my mentor, and he was my mentor. And then after I completed and then I became a co-lead, and I became a mentor. So I'm running the program with John Russell, and I'm really grateful for all the
Amazing.
experiences.
Very nice.
Well done. I love that. I know Stuart well too, and yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, so it's like full circle, isn't it? Great.
It is. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, small world. Well, lovely. Thank you, Afsha. That was absolutely brilliant. So
Yeah, that was brilliant, and you wouldn't know it was your first speaking session either.
not at all. Not at all. I know. I mean, actually, you get like a very, very short presentation, within Capgemini where we work, which again, it was, I don't know, 10 minutes. It was super, super quick, but you did a great job there as well. So yeah, you were natural. Keep it going.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So thanks so much. So next up, we have our 3rd session. Good friend of the show, fellow MVP, Markus award-winning Markus Franz, which you'll see from his intro slides because I've seen them. They're brilliant. So Markus, whenever you're ready, my friend, you go ahead and share and take it away.
Yes. Can you see my slides?
Yeah, looking good, my friend.
Okay. Just a little disclaimer, if you're a lover of beautiful slides, just from like our first presentation, better close your eyes and just listen to me. Otherwise, your eyes will hurt. No, just kidding. Thanks for having me back. I've been to the show once as a new speaker as well. I really enjoyed it, so I'm happy to rejoin this time with the regular session, and it's more or less about what Markdown files can do or how Markdown files can help you for Codeps development. I'm just giving my 2 cents on it and what worked for me. I just recently shipped one Codep to production not that long ago, and it successfully runs since the beginning with a few changes, but yeah, at least nobody complained about it until now, so should be fine. Little bit about myself. As Keith already mentioned, I'm an MVP as well. I am working as a modern workplace solution architect right now at a global company. We are producing rubber stamps. So just like the stamps you put on a paper. So it's really, really digital. Not really, but we are global market leader in this field. And yeah, I'm just there to make a few things more digital than the rubber stamps are by nature. So for the community, I do a few things. I mentor a few programs. I'm a PMP GitHub contributor. I used to answer a few questions on the community forums as well. I was distracted a little bit for that, but I hope to join back soon. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just scan the QR code and I will think about accepting the request. No, just kidding. Send me a request and I will be happy to talk and follow up on my session. Today I'm not really talking about Codeps in general, so how you set it up and how you develop stuff. I'm just more or less talking about how you can collab or make the collaboration with your AI coding agent of choice better, so that you are not attacked by your coding agent with questions and questions and questions again, what you need, which color, which data source, API, MCP, stuff like that. So think about using your AI agent as a coworker. So think about somebody joins you, you get a new coworker. The human coworker, at least also as the AI agent, does not know anything about how you work, which naming conventions you're using, which styles you're using, which font, which color, or what kind of things it should do or should not do. So let's have a quick look at this sketch kind of. So think about having a coworker, he starts and he has no idea what you are doing all day long. The same counts in my point of view for your coding agent as well, because you are not giving any context to it. So you are just saying, hey, I need a visitor booking app. And maybe you are not really giving much more details to the agent. So you will end up like you see it on the slide right now. The agent will ask you questions and questions over and over again. And at the end, you have no joy in collaborating with your agent because you more or less burn your energy by answering these questions instead of just using the agent as a coworker, let's say. It won't save you any time in my point of view. The time consumed by answering the questions will be much more compared to if you're using any kind of Markdown files, for example. So which problems do Markdown files save? Imagine you have a coworker again. This coworker is on vacation and you have nobody to ask where would you start. You could just go through the project. You could try to understand everything. you can have a look at whatever you are able to see, because maybe your colleague was nice enough to send you whatever file before he went on vacation. Then you have a better starting point than somebody who does not have any kind of documentation. So in my point of view, Markdown files is a good way to document things, a good way to write down rules, a good way to just put things together so that your coding agent, as well as your human coworker, does have one single source of truth, and everybody knows, okay, we need to look at this file, and we see everything we need to know there. Onboarding is a 40-minute call repeated per person, so it's just statistics. So I did not really sit with my watch and stop the time, but it's time consuming if you need to introduce your coworkers over and over again, just letting them know which rules to follow and which things to avoid. If you're not using any kind of context for the coding agent, it will guess your conventions, but it will guess it every time differently. So the thing or the answer, just like we learned today, two people asking one question, getting different results, it's more or less the same. If you ask GitHub Copilot, for example, to build whatever app you want to build, one time it will look different than you ask it again in 5 minutes. So like I said, use your Markdown files as a one source of truth. The most important thing in my point of view is also to keep your Markdown files updated. It's not about like just setting up once and it counts forever. It's also a living document. You can also adapt it, and it should also be in the pull requests, for example. Like I already mentioned, the file will be here to use or ready to use for your human coworkers as well, for your coding agents of choice. Yeah, it's just here as a single source of truth. I will show you a few Markdown files later in VS Code directly that I am using, or just to give you ideas what kind of files you could use, either for documentation or for make the collaboration between you, your human colleagues, and also your AI collaborators better and easier, so that everybody has one document to have a look at and just see everything that is important. Sorry. So here you can see a short overview of things you can use. I will open up my VS Code in just a bit to show you the real tree view kind of some things I prepared, and also of the one production ready code that I built. So it's just like everybody, I would say, knows a README file. If you are familiar with GitHub, every repo has a README file where, for example, the person who uploaded the repo tells you everything about how you get it started, what you should be aware of, what things you need to tweak on your side if you want to just use the same thing. AgentsMD, for example, can be used to give your agent some do's and don'ts and boundaries, what it should do and what it should not do. And in my point of view, one of the most usable, helping, whatever kind of where do you want to find for it, Markdown file, in my point of view, is a style guide file. A style guide file does have everything about what colors you're using, what fonts you're using, which spacing you want to have, everything that should be in your UI UX experience should live in there. In my point of view, it's really time saving because you do not have to change everything after, for example, GitHub Copilot through an app that does not really use any kind of corporate colors, corporate fonts, corporate whatever your marketing team loves to see, or even you love to see in your design implementation. But like I just mentioned, I will show you a bit more details in VS Code directly, just about in a few minutes. Best practices and gotchas to avoid. These are things, like I said, that I found useful. I'm not saying that these are the only things that are important, because in my point of view, it's also really different from developer to developer, or from project to project. One thing that I did not mention earlier is that I'm not lucky enough, like Keith or Charlie. I do not have any kind of pro code background, so I really started with low code only. My starting point with all of the tech things was Power Platform, more specific Power Apps, Canvas apps. So yeah. But now, one thing that I love about AI is like you can build pro code stuff as well. RIP Canvas apps, yeah. I'm crying every day, but but I'm also happy that we have kind of an alternative on the horizon that is, in my point of view, and also other people's point of view on this call, that is really promising. Yeah, but back to the topic. I bet you already had a chance to just look at the slide and just see what I mentioned. What I said earlier, it's a living document. So if you need to add something or if you need to delete something, please do, because your agent will always go back to this Markdown file. And if you're not changing it, you will get something as a response, or the agent will build something that you are not really happy with. One source of truth per rule. So it's not really a good thing to have different Markdown files that are pointing in a similar direction. So you should, in my point of view, have specific Markdown files where you just put things together and not just mix and match. So don't put one thing into 3 different Markdown files, because yeah, it's not really going to work, and the agent does not really or will not really be happy with it, and the outcome won't really be as good as it could be if it's only living in one document. Yeah, just be as precise as you could be. Do not really, yeah, just use always, never, and not really, yeah, make them long and complex. I mean, you could do it, but at least try to make them specific and also easy to read, kind of, for the coding agent as well. If you are not happy with the outcome you are having, so maybe the style guide you are using, or maybe you see the outcome not really as good as you want it to be, maybe go and check your Markdown files first. Maybe you did not really make them as detailed as possible, or maybe you are not specific enough. In these days, like we already heard today, AI is everywhere, so you're not really need to rewrite them by yourself. You can also tag team with whatever subscription you're using. Also, some gotchas to avoid, like I already mentioned in the best practice, don't repeat rules across files, because when you are repeating them in different files, you will not really have an overview where you put the things. Maybe you just maybe you can only remember that you put it in file 1, but not really in file 2, so you only have one single source of truth. And the coding agent only takes it from one file. Follow best practices did not really work for me, because the coding agent is thinking about, okay, I'm already following best practices. You do not really need to tell me. Yeah, I did not really receive better results telling GitHub Copilot just to follow best practices. Yeah. Yeah. This can also be combined to the first point. Yeah, so just keep it updated. Well, and one thing that I also stumbled over is do not copy other people's MD files, because like I said, it can be really make no mistakes. Yeah, it's also a good thing. Copy someone else's MD files only because it works for them doesn't mean it works for you. It can be really project specific or also really company specific. Only because company A is using whatever do's and don'ts for recording agent does not mean that they are also valid for your company as well. So just get a few ideas in and make them your own. So we will also, like I said, have a look at a few Markdown files just about now. So in my point of view, 3 takeaways. Yeah, your coding agent only needs one single source of truth. It does not need repetitive rules across different files. Keep them short scope versioned or they rot. So make sure to not only adapt your code if there are any changes and you need to ship a new version. Also make sure to change your Markdown files as well if they need changes. So maybe think about, I don't know, your company has a rebranding. The company is now using the color purple, I don't know. But the rebranding says it loves more the Marmite colors. Keith would be happy. So you just need to make sure that your MD files also use the new colors there as well. Yeah. Yeah. And code apps are code first, so treat docs as code. Markdown files should be in the repo as well, and also should be updated, just like I mentioned as of now. So demo time. I prepared 2 things, and we will have a look at those things real quick. Let me just find my VS Code stuff I wanted to show. So one question design a new logo. Okay, I will implement it and update my Markdown files just after the call ends. Thanks, Keith, for the logo. I will use it for my next. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm not asking Charlie because I know I already know the answer. But I would be interested in the others. I know the answer from Keith as well. Who of the others remaining in the core have already played around with code apps? Keith. Nice. So, like I said, I'm not really talking about how you set up everything, how you get started with code apps, because just like we planned things, Charlie on the call together with Josh has a great YouTube channel where they are mainly talking about code apps, how to set them up, how to connect data sources, how to develop them together with agents as well. And just like we aligned everything, they put a new video on YouTube today just about an updated video about how you should set up everything. They did one version a while ago, but yeah, we are thinking about the same things on the same day, I guess, Charlie. No, but yeah, have a look at the YouTube channel. I really learned a lot from them as well, and I would recommend if you are ready to get started with code apps, just have a look at the YouTube channel. It's really great. I just want to show the other thing first. Let me bring it over. So, okay, I'm just closing this real quick. I just wanted to talk about the Retrieval on the left. So as you can see, and I already mentioned, you have a README file. It's just like on every other GitHub repo, kind of, where a few things are listed. The difference between this view is you cannot really see any other README files on the left. So you Markdown files on the left. You only see the README here. But for example, if I'm talking about this, I have a Markdown style guide file right here, where you can see everything about colors, rules, typography, spacing, layout stuff. So it's more or less about the UI and how it should look like. I prepared it in advance because I did not really make you wait for the response that GitHub Copilot is throwing on us on the live demo. I tried to take the same prompt and I just more or less added to this project that it should reference the style guide file as well. So go there, have a look at everything, and build the app for me that has everything about my styling and everything about colors and stuff like that. So I'm showing you the first one. It's the one that does not have any kind of style guide attached. I'm going to show you. So here I just used kind of the same prompt. It doesn't say anything about styling. So the coding agent is guessing whatever, or is just picking any kind of colors that the agent prefers just now. So for this project, it just picked green and some kind of dark green, gray, whatever kind of color. But what if you are, I don't know, if your company is using green, purple, yellow, red, whatever secondary color you're having, whatever kind of font you're using. Now you just would need to tell the agent, hey, I'm not really using green, the company colors are red. One thing that's also good if you are giving it more context than just doing it like this, is that you will save tokens at the end as well. We all know that the models are getting more powerful. They are also consuming a lot more tokens than the older models. So in the future, we just would need to find a way how we could save tokens and not really kind of waste them. The other thing that I wanted to show is this is the one where I use the style guide file. If I'm going back and we just have a look at the colors, for example, we can see that we have teal colors here in all different kind of shades. It also has primary color assigned and also for the text as well. If we are going back, we can see that it also picked the teal shadings over here. We also see that we can find the darker gray version over here. And I'm just putting whatever entry in here because it's not really yeah, so we can see so it's right now only running locally. I did not push it to my Power Apps environment. That's why I did not really have entries over here, but you can see that it picked up some of the styling. I'm kind of, so I mean, I did not really give it a lot of context. I only gave it one prompt and only said, just use the style guide file. If it would be a real project, I would do it in more detail and make the prompt even more specific. But just for showing the difference about a single file that can save a few questions and answers is, in my point of view, time saving and also token saving at the end as well. Yeah, I'm just going back to my PowerPoint real quick. I only have one slide left. So if you have been to one of my sessions already, maybe you have seen my closing slide that is following me kind of from the very beginning. And the question is, what does a community core and a phishing day have in common? At the first look, you can see that on the right-hand side, there is someone at the lake. He's outside, he's enjoying the beautiful weather, he's fishing, he caught a few fish, as you can see down here, and he also caught one fish just right now. You can see the same guy on the left, but the baskets are full of fish and also some fish laying in front of him. I So what I want to point out is every call that I'm able to share my thoughts and also my pitfalls I just stumbled over or just about things that worked for me. So if I made anybody think about Markdown files, if anybody learned a few new things today, if it's only one person on the call, just like the guy on the right, I really enjoyed being here, and I really enjoyed your company and your time that you invest in listen to the crap I'm talking about. and also that you survived looking at my really beautiful slides. But I'm also feeling really good if I reached more than one person. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you again for having me. I really enjoyed it. And I just love sharing what I learned on my way. And thanks for having me, and thanks for listening to my topic.
Fantastic. Thank you, Markus. That was absolutely brilliant as always. I was going to make fun of the slides, but they're actually really good. So I can't make fun of the slides. They were really good. They were nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be better, but it works.
It was great. And I think the demo was good. And I think you could really tell the difference. And you'd mentioned to me before about the style guide MD. It's a great idea. And you know what? Reusability, it really helps using that kind of approach. I think it's such a cool idea to use that. So yeah, really good.
One thing that I just also wanted to show you that I just missed, only takes a few seconds. I also have in the production ready code app, I'm using a solution Markdown file where I'm just using it as a document, more or less a documentation, what the purpose is, what the technology stack is, which data sources are in there, the high-level architecture, everything, how it works, what it does, stuff like that. So maybe you're just using other tools to document everything. In my point of view, it can also be a Markdown file. So just giving ideas. If you are having any kind of workflow that is working for you, just stick to it. Just another thing to think about, maybe.
Yeah, really good tip. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, the proliferation of Markdown for skills, Claude MD, agents, instructions, it's really worth looking into. Yeah, very good. Awesome. Thank you, Markus. Does anyone have any questions for Markus? If so, just use the raise hand in Teams and we'll get round to it. But it was, again, while we wait, it was a great demo, great presentation. Thanks so much, Markus.
Any follow-up questions, just send them to me on LinkedIn and we can talk about it. So
perfect. Yeah. So yeah, if you just search for Marmite Franz on, Markus Franz on LinkedIn. Sorry. Can't help it. Yeah, no, do reach out, Markus. Like I say, he's been a super user. He's got massive amount of solutions where he's actually helped other people. So he's one of those super people who, like the super user program. That's where we met. That's where we got talking first off. It's by helping other people. So please do feel free to reach out to Markus. Well, look, I don't see any questions there, so I think there's a really good place to end everything. We're kind of pretty much on time, which is perfect as well. That doesn't always happen. So thank you so much to all the speakers tonight. I know Sarah had to leave a little early, but she'll thank everyone as well. And with that, we'd love to have you back next time. Just follow us on LinkedIn and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, folks.
For having me.
Thank you.
See you later. Thanks all.